Personally, when I do a cable kickback, I like to optimize the clench at the top of the rep. This to me makes me feel that if someone were to fire a gun at my body, I could deflect the bullet with my buns of steel and leave the situation after having done my 3x10 go heavy set unharmed. Look, I'm going to be honest with you, it's a shambles now, to be honest. The hair, I've given up. It's completely gone. Look at it. I actually have a bird's nest on my head, and that's not a look. It's got to the point now where it's so long, I don't know what to do with it, because I'm kind of on the fence between maintaining some sort of style or going back to 16-year-old Justin Bieber phase, and I don't know if I can do either of those at the moment, because one requires effort and the other is an unfortunate certainty. But here we are. We're trying something new. We're back in front of the camera, obviously, and in front of the PC, because we're going to talk about some things. So as you're aware, influencers and popular names in the industry are quite a prominent aspect of this channel, because ultimately TFNL was largely formed on debunking BS in the industry and kind of calling out what needs to be called out when appropriate, and doing so in a constructive and hopefully positive manner. And another thing you'll notice is a lot of the videos largely surround female influencers. And the primary reason behind that is because the vast majority of TFNL subscribers are female. Which also leads me on to two things. If you aren't subscribed to the channel, I would really appreciate if you did subscribe. Red button down below. Click it, slap it on, see what happens. It means a lot to me and it would really help me out. And the second thing is, if you tolerate the video, or I would actually borderline say if you like the video, slap on 100 likes, and if we get 100 likes, you can slap me. So we're going to approach things slightly differently today. We're going to talk about influencers and their technique. This was recommended to me as a video idea many moons ago. Someone said, why don't you start assessing influencers' technique and stuff and see where they're doing things right and where they're going wrong, etc, etc. Somewhat of an educational video. So hopefully it goes down well. If it doesn't go down well, that's awkward. If it does go down well, you're going to slap me apparently. So this is sick. I can't deal with this anymore because it's just... my forehead is huge. It's actually a joke. I feel like I'm off to a day sesh. I'm off to the rave. I feel like I should be in the next Kevin and Perry Go Large movie, because all I want to do is do it. Also, that's a slapping movie. All right, we're doing it. We're going for it. So, Lauren Simpson. She's popped up a few times, mentioned her in the podcast, mentioned her in the last video. And the only reason I've done so is because she's hella strong, to be honest. She replied to my story, following on from the previous video, basically getting a bit eggy with me. I think she was trying to throw some fisticuffs. Wanted an old scrappino, but I said no thank you. And she claimed she squats 150 kilos. I said, let's have a gander. I found 145 and I'm like, bloody hell, that's impressive. So we've got 145 kilos on the bar, ollie shoes on, knee sleeves on, and considering it's a 1 rep max, first of all, I appreciate the low bar squat. That's naughty. Although personally, I prefer low bar squatting in flat shoes. To be honest, I actually prefer high bar squatting in flat shoes, which is a bit odd. As a whole, for a 1 rep max attempt, I'm actually, that's clean. Obviously, you can still see like the hips are rising quite quickly, partly potentially due to posterior chain weaknesses. But in reality, if a 1 rep max attempt looks perfect, it's probably not really a 1 rep max attempt. So I can't bash this. It's bloody impressive. All right, deadlifts. So this could be an interesting one because I haven't seen a mass amount of her deadlifting, and immediately straight off the bat, there are a few issues I would like to address. So number one is the shoes. To be honest, I personally wouldn't do any lower base movements in general in like trainers, running trainers, whatever, like spongy shoes, because ultimately when you are lifting a fair amount of weight as she is, so when you're pressing against the sponge of the shoes, that kind of causes weight distribution to be all over the shop, and they aren't really providing a stable base, which is what you need, i.e. your ankles could roll quite easily. So imagine you were standing on SpongeBob SquarePants and you were squatting on him, but not like that. Wouldn't feel very stable, versus imagine squatting on a stable concrete floor, your ankles aren't going to roll over the shop, you're laughing. So change your shoes personally, either take them off completely, or what I like doing is wearing boxing shoes. They're cheap, very thin soles, flat, laughing. The stance. It's meant to be a sumo deadlift, but from what I can gather, it kind of strikes me as the my first deadlift kind of stance. If you're going to sumo, I'd push the plates out and try and widen the stance further, if you can. Another thing I would mention is the core bracing. She doesn't seem like she's really trying to brace the core properly, or if she is, she's kind of rushing it, hence why the hips and back are a bit all over the shop. Obviously, you can see her lats engaging, but the hips is trying to rise too quickly, and there's definitely a fight to maintain that neutral position of the spine. It seems like she's not really trying to expand laterally, which is what you kind of need to do when you're core bracing effectively. Whitney Simmons. So someone we've covered many times before on the channel, and someone who, in the grand scheme of things, I've actually been more impressed and disappointed with. She squats to depth, which is great, and her content, although questionable at times, isn't entirely awful. So we're going to assess her squat first. She's referring to a squat here, which is essentially a wider stance high bar squat, as a sumo squat. I don't personally like that terminology because I don't think there is such a thing as a sumo squat. That being said, it almost looks uncomfortably wide for her. You can see her really having to drive the knees out, externally rotate the knees and get the hips out, and it looks very unnatural. Although the depth is good, the back position is good. All I would suggest is maybe bring the head up a little bit because it's like she's trying to force it down a bit. Let's assess the cable kickback form, because if there's one exercise I know better than any, it's the cable kickback. It would be silly for me not to assess her cable kickback technique, considering it's a movement I do often. So good neutral spine. She's hanging onto the cable machine as if she's gripping Excalibur for the first time. I appreciate that, I respect it. Good range of motion with the old glutes getting right up there to a good, I would say good point in the leg, in which you are kind of maintaining somewhat of a 90-degree angle between the two legs at the hips. Fantastic. The one thing I would suggest here is enhance the clench a bit more. See, personally, when I do a cable kickback, I like to optimize the clench at the top of the rep. This to me makes me feel that if someone were to fire a gun at my body, I could deflect the bullet with my buns of steel and leave the situation after having done my 3x10 go heavy set unharmed. Alright, naturally Stefanie, someone who I haven't actually spoken about for a long time. I think the last time I did anything surrounding her was, I want to say September 2019, roughly. I did a video on naturally Stefanie around then. It was around that period, maybe October. Anyway, she's squatting today. We're going to look at her squats and we're going to see what's going on. Again, I can't really tell what the shoes are saying, but they do look like they could have a spongy sole. And as I've mentioned throughout the video, that's not a good time. No one wants to squat flaccid. It's just not a vibe. No one wants sponge. It's not good for the knees. It's not good for you in general, to be honest. Again, impressive weight. The knees are doing the stanky leg, and that's not going to be a good vibe for anyone. Realistically, your knees are buckling, the likelihood of injuries all over the shop. The likely cause of this would be a glute weakness, i.e. inability to externally rotate the hips because the glutes aren't firing properly, or they're not strong enough to essentially take the amount of load they should be taking. So I would definitely suggest bringing in some more glute work, maybe some external rotation work. The bad girls, you know the bad girls. So a cue that actually really helped me with this is essentially starting from the feet. I like to create like a triangle of pressure on my feet. So I'll drive my big toe, little toe and heel into the floor, creating that triangle. Once I've done so, I push my heels in and drive my toes out as if I'm almost trying to spread the floor and create that torque. That then transfers up to the knees, in which you're now externally rotating the knees, which then goes into the hips. You're now externally rotating the hips. Your glutes should be under a fair amount of tension right now, even though you're not moving. Again, we saw in the first rep, the toes were coming off the floor on the right side, potentially both sides. First of all, spongy shoes again, not going to be helping this problem. Granted, you're pushing the weight through the heel towards the back of the foot, although with the deadlift and squat, I'd actually emphasize pushing the weight through the mid-foot, not the back of the foot. But the toes coming off the floor is a no-go. This again stems from what I just said about the squat and the big toe, little toe, heel. Same sort of thing, create that triangle of pressure, therefore you're getting even weight distribution across the foot, and then you can push force through the mid-foot. And then the foot should remain in full contact with the floor. Bin the shoes basically and learn to distribute weight better. But other than that, back's good, although I would say she's almost exaggerating the extension of the lower back, almost trying too hard to have a flat back, but I'd rather that than being flaccid, because again, no one wants a flaccid back when they're deadlifting. Not going to go well. So I keep getting messages about Daisy Keech. Again, someone I've mentioned briefly in videos before. I think I mentioned her when I was doing like a home workout reaction to video. I was like, you know what, I'll have a gander at her squats and see what's going on. But she gets bored of normal squats. I get that, so do I, but I have to do them anyway. So we've got a landmine squat instead. And this is pretty much the only thing I could find of her squatting on her Instagram. As a whole, it's not too bad. I mean, again, spongy shoes. I see, that's the thing. I get why people wear the spongy shoes. Fashion, looks good, cool as heck, but reality, not functional, not appropriate for squatting and deadlifting. I just don't think it's a good shout. So yeah, you look sick, but you're not optimizing your ability to move weight. And at the end of the day, if you're optimizing your ability to move weight, you look like you're lifting more weight because you probably are lifting more weight. People are going to look at your 10-plate squat and not your 10 grand shoes. Granted, as one of the comments says, there is a bit of butt wink there. Anterior pelvic tilt, being butt wink, really isn't as detrimental as people think, especially if it's only minor. Granted, in an ideal world, there would be none. but you're probably not going to die if you have a little bit, provided everything else is in check. But yeah, as a whole, knees seem good, and you can see what I mean about these spongy shoes causing weight distribution to be all over the place and not providing that stable base, because when she's pressing, you can see her fighting to maintain full contact with the foot, i.e. she's pushing pressure to the outside of the feet, to the inside, to the back, to the front. You can see just the distribution is all over the shop, and that is primarily because the shoes are spongy. So if you are squatting or deadlifting with spongy shoes, I would recommend either taking your shoes off completely, or better yet, buying like a boxing shoe that may provide a bit of ankle support as well, with a flat sole and a thin sole, and you're laughing. I think you'll find mass benefit from doing so. Basically, the take-home message from this whole video is bin your shoes because they're probably crap. But yeah, that's it. That's the video. I wonder what the hair looks like now. You ready for this? Tragic. That is absolutely tragic, but I don't look as pale somehow. Thank you for watching the video. Thank you for tolerating the video. A few things before we leave. Again, if you haven't already, and you probably haven't actually made it this far, so I don't know why I'm telling you this, but I'm going to try anyway. Click the first link in the description. Follow Doormat Face on Twitch, as well. I'll be live streaming many times a week, different games. At the moment, it's mainly Call of Duty, i.e. Warzone. But I'm looking at playing a bit of Valorant, Among Us, Fall Guys, the good stuff. Watch me rage on camera, watch me cry on camera, and watch me eat on camera, because who doesn't love that? And again, if you like the video, 100 likes, and I'll make more videos like this. If you have any recommendations or suggestions surrounding who you want me to talk about, or any just video ideas in general, let me know in the comment section below. Again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I would really appreciate you doing so. But regardless, thank you for tolerating the video.